When Katie and I began our exploration into allyism, we asked ourselves, what is an ally? We quickly realized there was no simple answer to that question. An ally can align with any identity, can be a friend to any group, and can show their support in a number of ways. We also realized that this conversation about allyism is still in its beginning. We hope to further this discussion. For our project, Katie and I explored allies to the LGBTQ community. We did this in 2 parts. The first is a video. This series of interviews will show you real stories and real statistics about what it means to be an LGBTQ ally.
And the second is a photo series in which NYU students were asked at random to comment about what they feel it means to be an ally to the LGBTQ community.
We want to thank Salima and Mark and the entire CMAP office for making our project and the entire ISM showcase possible. We also want to thank everyone in the audience tonight for showing your support for this year's ISM projects.
And we hope you enjoy the video.
So like I said, I changed high schools a few different times. I ended up going to 5 different high schools, but only one of them was for like a French class, so I really attended 4 high schools. Every time I switched to high school, it was because of the whole gay aspect.
I think sometimes straight allies have the problem of not understanding what it's like to be oppressed. You're sort of in that group where you don't feel homophobia and you don't feel the strings that these people go through because you can get married, you do have equal rights under the law, you don't have to walk into school and be bullied and have your locker covered in homophobic slurs every day. So that's one challenge, that you really don't know where that mindset is and what it feels like to. I'm not saying that straight allies don't know what it's like to be bullied. Certainly that's not true. But it's just a different sort of mindset.
I ended up telling my friend Michael, and he was gay, so I thought okay, I'll tell Michael, he'll get it. But of course Michael told everyone. And then people started being really mean, and I felt uncomfortable, so I tried to kill myself.
I think making people aware of the ways in which offhand comments or remarks or even actions in a more extreme situation can really negatively impact people's lives and make them insecure, make them feel lesser than.
I really don't like the terminology that that's so gay or oh that's so stupid gay, and I'm like, please stop. And people sort of treat it but it's just a word. In Spanish, there's a sort of sentiment es muy feo, and it literally means it's ugly, but more than that, it means it's unpleasant or it's gross or it's just sort of uncomfortable. And that's how the word is for me. I don't feel good using it or hearing it. It's just sort of an uncomfortable feeling. The connotations that the word bad or stupid is linked to the word gay, which it should never be, because being gay has nothing to do with that at all.
It started to become more uncomfortable sometimes when I got to an older age, and especially going to an all-girl school and then interacting with boys from our brother's school, and hearing things like fag and things that were just completely hurtful and completely inappropriate and derogatory.
It's really important to pay attention to your language because, microaggressions are everything. It's how institutionalized oppression operates and functions. It's how we allow sexism, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, all of that to operate daily in our individual lives.
I think people really want to find this step-by-step process of how to be a good ally, that I can just check these things off and now I'm an ally and great, now I'm not complicit in larger systems of domination, and that's never going to be true.
Being an ally takes a lot of work. You're constantly, looking out for oppressive language, microaggressions. You're constantly becoming more aware of oppression that happens on both an individualized basis and also structurally?
I think a lot of people aren't honest because it's kind of hard. I mean, you really have to know about your queer history, the history of the movement as a whole, really, and you really understand what's going on, and that takes work and time. It's not something that you can just do in like an afternoon.
Kind of this assumption that if I learn to use respectful language and call myself an ally, that I'm an ally and that I'm done, and that now I am absolved of all my guilt and don't have to worry about it anymore. And I think that's really problematic. I think that having a week for allies where it's like, this is the week that you're an ally, is dangerous. Because anything that makes you think that you are done, that you have accomplished it, that you've done all you can do is dangerous, because that makes people sit back.
I think when it comes to being an ally, it's very important to not just call things out and think, oh, because I addressed this issue once, like I'm in the clear. It's definitely a process that's continually happening.
An ally is a person who is gay or straight who takes it upon themselves to fight for LGBTQ issues and LGBTQ people. So that means listening to their problems and acting accordingly. You don't become an ally by just sort of holding up a sign or changing your Facebook profile picture to an equal sign.
I think there's a common misconception that if you are okay with people being something, that you're an ally. Just because you're not racist doesn't mean you are an ally to people of color. Just because you support gay marriage on paper does not mean that you are an ally to gay and lesbian people. Being an ally is an active process, and you don't get to throw it around.
I think it goes back to, the most important thing, listening, and also self-education. Very, 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 very important. And I think that as long as you make sure that you're not expecting other people to educate you on their experiences, that you should, really be okay. So I think self-education is always key.
So I think it's important to have these conversations and get as much education from people around you and from the news, of course, in order to progress and make a change.
I think education is the most important part. I mean, picking up a book about social justice or underrepresentation.
So being an ally really is about listening and understanding, and really knowing that your role is not to be the definer, but really the helper.
And I think that one of the biggest points of being an ally is knowing when to speak up and when to take a seat.
The sooner that all students are exposed to varying attitudes, varying identities, varying levels of education about these topics, the sooner that they can come to an understanding about what it means to work together in those issues.
If you believe in equality and you believe in the right to be who you are, I think that's why it's important to be an ally and to make that stand. Because if we don't all identify that way, and if we don't all take that pledge and make the effort, then how do we expect things to change?
At the end of the day, allies, we need you. You're part of the reason why all of the advocacy and all of the activism that we do helps to get perpetuated. So we always need allies. We always need allies.